Is it possible to eat whatever you want without feeling guilt and shame when you've been dieting for years? Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Steph, and I'm a strength and mindset coach who is here to help you transform how you think about food so that you can eat all the foods that you love while building a body that you love. If you watched my first video, I gave you a task of eating something, so such as pizza, a donut, burger, something you believe that you shouldn't be eating, and to take a moment to eat this without feeling shame, without feeling guilt, without really feeling anything negative, right? To really just take a moment and to just eat this food. When you did this, what'd you experience? How'd it go for you? If you thought it was yum, it was delicious and tasty, then nice work, because that's exactly what food is. It is delicious and tasty. Now, if you had some other thoughts come up, or you immediately thought about, how many extra hours do you have to hit at the gym? Or maybe what can you cut out for dinner? Or maybe there's something else that you can swap it out with just because that was too many calories, it was not in your macros. Is this how you want to feel after you eat food? Or is there a different feeling that you want to feel? If you have an idea, I want you to write it down. If you have no idea, let's see if we can figure this out together. In my first video, we talked about food freedom very briefly. In this video, we're going to talk about it more in depth. Now, I say I'm going to teach you how to eat whatever you want while building a body that you love. Food freedom doesn't mean that we're just going to eat junk food all the time, that we can just eat donuts, we can eat cookies and stuff all the time, because that's what I said. Food freedom is about you being able to make that choice and knowing that you can eat whatever you want. Now, whether or not you end up eating a bunch of donuts and whether you end up eating a bunch of cookies, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Food is food, because you're going to be trusting your body to guide you to what it needs. Your body is always telling you what it needs, what it doesn't need. We just have to learn to listen. We're going to be healing our inner beliefs that we've been taught since we were really, really young. I know for myself, since I was very young, I've been told you need to be skinny, you need to lose weight, you need to be skinny. It is unlearning all those thoughts and beliefs that we've created, all these rules that we put around food, right? Erasing them, or just slowly changing them to something that is going to work better for our goals, work better so that we feel better, work better so that we can eat whatever we want without feeling like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. Without feeling like, oh, how is that going to affect my body? Without feeling like, oh, well, I had this, now I'm not going to be skinny, right? It's about eating this food that you want to enjoy and just enjoying it. Many times people also think that food freedom is that you don't care about your nutrition. That's not it. If I think back to my own journey, so like I mentioned before, since I was a kid, I've been told you need to be skinny, you need to be thin. My mom, I used to take my arm, we jiggle, arms, this is all part, and she would grab it and be like, look, you've got this much fat, we need to get rid of that. Or we stand in front of the mirror, she'd be like, your calves are too big, your thighs are too big, you need to be like this size. That's right here, you need to be here. Anytime I would gain weight, my dad would comment, be like, you've gained weight. And then he'd be like, oh, you just need to accept it. So to me, I never even believed that food freedom was even possible, because I was told I should eat, but then when I did eat, I was criticized for my body. So in your mind, that's super confusing, because, oh, I'm doing the thing that people want me to do, but then I don't like how I feel because people are now telling me that this is not how I should look because I ate food. And growing up in an Asian household, food was very important. Any sort of event that you have, so whether you're celebrating something, something's happened, there is always food involved. Rice, there was a long period where I didn't have any rice because I believed that when I had rice, that is what caused me to gain weight. So if I needed to lose weight, I was going to cut out rice. And growing up in an Asian household, rice is a staple, right? Imagine cutting that out. For a lot of us, we've been stuck in diet culture for so long that we've created a long list, whether you know it or not, of food rules. Things you can eat, things you cannot eat, whether you've heard that from someone else, whether that you've created that for yourself, whether you've looked at someone's social media page and you're like, oh, I can't eat that. I've seen fitness coaches who are like, if you want a six-pack, then you're going to cut out all carbs. Yes, you know what? Maybe that works, but what does that do to you long term? If you're cutting out carbs for the rest of your life, what does carbs actually give you? It's not a vessel to make you fat. It is to give you energy. It is to provide life for you. And that's the thing that we forget. And if we're constantly creating food rules for ourselves, we're falling back into that diet culture mindset. It just looks different. So, say, for example, we know that we need to eat protein in order to build muscle. Now, what most people want is a defined, that toned look. So, some people know, oh, I need to eat to build muscle for that, but I don't want to gain fat. So, I think a really popular thing now is, how do I build muscle without gaining fat? And so people are like, have more protein, have less carbs. Right? So if in your head you're like, I can eat protein, but I can't have that many carbs, I'm just going to keep doing that, Yes, you might build some muscle, but what is eventually going to need to happen is that your body is going to reach a plateau. When you are not eating enough food, your body is not going to change, right? So you're not going to build muscle. You might end up gaining some fat actually. But your body is not going to go where you want because your body needs sustenance. We need that nourishment. We need that fuel. So if you created a rule in your mind to say, oh, I can have protein, but I can't have too many carbs, that's going to mess with your mind a lot. Because when you're told, oh, I need to go and eat that carbs, you're going to be hit with a lot of resistance from yourself to be like, what do you mean? I can't go and eat that. If I use myself as an example, I had cut out butter and cheese. Butter and cheese were no-nos when I was growing up because butter would make me fat. And I can't have butter because I don't want to be fat. And I think I only started to eat butter when I was 27. So freely. I'm now 33. So it's not even that long. It's just 6 years ago. That's when I was like, oh, I see butter. I'm just going to spread it out and not even care about it. But before then, if there was ever butter, I'd pass on it because I can't have butter because that would make me fat. If there was butter on something, I would make a big fuss about it because, what do you mean, why is there butter on this? This is going to destroy my body. And it's just taken me so long to tell myself and to show myself that if I have butter, nothing's going to happen to my body as long as I am listening to what my body is telling me that it needs. Let's look at some aspects of diet culture and see if we can rewrite these things into food freedom. So if we use my example of butter, I can't eat butter. What would that look like as food freedom? How about I can eat butter, and do I want to is the question. If I do want to, okay. If I don't want to, also okay. Another big one, food being labeled as good or bad. How about food is just food? It's not good or bad. So if you take a food that is normally labeled as good, so say that's chicken. Butter is bad. Chicken's good, butter is bad. What happens if you eat too much chicken? Is that good or bad? What if you just have a little bit of butter? Is that good or bad? How about it doesn't actually matter? It's just food. How many of us have counted macros? Counted their calories? Have you taken a scale to a restaurant? I know I got very obsessed when I was counting my macros. And I was like, is this actually working? Is this helping me? How about instead of being obsessed with the numbers that you're presented with food, how much protein there is, how many carbs, how much fat there is, the total number of calories. How about that doesn't matter? How about, is this food making me feel satisfied? Is this what I need for my body? Is this what I need to feel good? How about those feelings of guilt, those feelings of shame that you always eat? How about just accepting that, oh, I had delicious food. It was great. And we're moving on now because food is food. If you've got any others that you used to think so that you were stuck in your diet mindset, let me know in the comments. How can you rewrite those so that you can work towards that food freedom? That feeling where you're not worrying about something that you ate and how that's going to affect your body later. How about just accepting at the moment while you're eating it, wow, that was great, delicious, moving on. Or maybe you didn't actually enjoy the meal. It wasn't that good. But again, that's okay. So now that we've compared diet mindset and food freedom, what would that actually feel like for you? So maybe some things are you're eating things without feeling guilt. You're eating something, you're not even thinking about it anymore. How about not needing to feel like you need to start over on Monday because you decided, oh, we went to all these restaurants on the weekend. I just ate so much food. I just messed up, but I'll start over on Monday and then it'll be great, right? How about, oh, you don't need to do a cleanse in order to get back on track. You just need to pick up right where you left off. What do you need for that day? How about you're now listening to your body, listening to those hunger cues? You're feeding your body when you're hungry. You're savoring the food, and maybe you're stopping when you feel like you're full or you're close to being full. It's the peace of mind in knowing that, hey, I can eat and nothing's going to happen. The emotional freedom so that you're not breaking down over food when there happens to be something that you're like, oh, I just couldn't resist it. You're like, I couldn't resist that delicious cake or that donut in the window of that store. It was calling out to me. You can eat it. It's okay, right? Maybe you were always questioning before whether or not you were eating the right foods. But now, with food freedom, you're trusting your body to guide you to eat the right things. Maybe you used to stress when you were going on vacation because you'd be out of your routine. And what would you do? You can't meal prep when you're on vacation. So what do you do then? Instead of worrying, now you're comfortable breaking yourself out of this routine. You're going on vacation and just eating whatever food is available to you and just enjoying whatever you have there. Because you know that when you get back home, we can just pick right where you left off. Just like starting over on Monday. You're going to get right back on track. You don't need to do anything different. You don't need to start cutting out foods because maybe you're like, oh, I just had too many sweets when I was on vacation. I just need to cut them all out for an entire week, right? It's just focusing on balance, focusing on knowing that whatever you ate on vacation, what's happening right now, it's okay. I know that sounds pretty freeing to not have to worry about food. The things that I used to put myself when I used to go on vacation, the diets that I would put myself on, the juice diets, because I needed to look good in a bikini. And then I would get on vacation and I'd be like, I can just have fruit, thanks. Right? Having that food freedom. I can now go on vacation, look good in a bikini, and still enjoy all the food. Now, here are the hard truths that nobody will talk about. When you, for example, with nutrition, when you follow a meal plan, it's pretty easy for, 3 months or however long you're doing it. But nobody talks about what you do after. Will you follow this meal plan for the rest of your life? Eventually, you'd probably get bored of it. I know for myself, a meal plan would probably last a week and I'd be like, I don't like any of this food anymore. So when you are starting to challenge those rules that you created for yourself, your inner thoughts, your inner beliefs, it's not going to be a linear path. It's not just as easy as me saying, oh yeah, take out the butter is bad and just say butter is good. You're going to constantly question, am I doing the right thing? Is this okay? And you will go back and forth. But the most important thing is, if you are trusting yourself, you are trusting your body, you are trusting you to make the right decision for you. If you want to change that thought, you want to change that belief, you will make it happen. All of this is normal and a huge part of healing. Now, if you're like, I'm not healing from anything, think about when you're creating a new habit. Does that happen overnight? Whenever you're thinking of creating a new habit, it's not just doing it every single day and being like, yep, that was easy, we're going to stick with it. Your mind is going to tell you, no, I don't feel like doing it. So say, for example, when you first started working out, did you start off with 5 days a week right away? Or did you have to slowly build up to it? So I know many people have told me, I'll go to the gym 1 week, then the next week I don't go. And then that turns into me not going again, right? So you don't need to put all your eggs in one basket and do everything again all in one time. It's going to take time. So that days turn to weeks, weeks go into months, months turn to years, and then you're not even thinking about it. Food is exactly the same way. Say you eat healthy one day, next day you're not eating healthy. And then you're like, oh, well, I already messed up one day, then I'll just keep going. No, it's eating healthy one day, maybe unhealthy the next day. Maybe you were like, oh, I didn't eat that healthy. Maybe the next day I'll eat more healthy. And it might just keep going back and forth until you rewrite those rules that you've created for yourself to show you that you can be flexible, that you're not restricting yourself to anything, that you get to decide what you want to do or not, and that choice that you make will be the right one. If I think back to when I started CrossFit, this was about 10 years ago, I started CrossFit because I wanted to lose weight. And that was just the reality of it. So I started off with running. Running really wasn't working. And because I wasn't doing it. I'd run for 10 seconds and I'd stop and be like, that was good enough. I'm going to go home. I started CrossFit, and even on the first year, I was so focused on losing fat that none of this other stuff mattered. So after that first year of CrossFit, and for most of my life previously, my self-worth and my confidence, my everything, was dictated by my weight on the scale. And I used to weigh myself every single day. And I would look, did I gain a pound? If I gained a pound, I'm going to do anything I can to lose it. If I gain 2 pounds, oh my God, I won't even talk about that because that was unacceptable. So when I first started CrossFit, my thought was, I'm going to lose weight, because I would look at CrossFitters' bodies. They look toned. They look defined. They barely have any fat on their bodies, so they must all be a very small weight. Except what happened when I did CrossFit was that scale did not go down. I think it went up every single day. And I remember this moment very, very well, because I remember going into the bathroom and I remember the numbers. So I think when I started CrossFit, I was about 120 pounds. And then for some reason, I went to 125. And then it was 126. And I remember reaching 132 pounds. And I think I must have lost my mind, because I was telling myself, I was bargaining with myself. Okay, I'm 132 right now. I just won't let it go above that number. Won't let it go above. Can't go above. And then the next time I'd weigh myself, it was 135, 136, 137. And I was just confused, because I've started CrossFit in order to lose fat, in order to lose muscle, but I'm now gaining weight for some reason. So there must be something wrong with my nutrition. So then I started looking into, okay, what can I eat? What diet can I start to do? And what I learned was, most people are saying carbs is what makes you fat. So I cut out carbs. I was just having protein. At one point I was doing the paleo diet, and I was so strict with that paleo diet that I was eating turkey. I was eating steaks for breakfast. I didn't feel like eating steaks and protein and all that for breakfast, but I wouldn't eat any bread. And then I tried a fat loss diet also, and that took me from however many calories I was eating down to 1,200. And I found it extremely hard to follow, because I would go to the gym and just be so tired. I'm like, I can't lift. I can't do this. Something's wrong. So after doing this fat loss meal plan thing that I was doing, I started to realize, okay, this is not sustainable for me, because I can't go to CrossFit, which I really love. I love the feeling of lifting. I love the feeling, like the social aspect. I was meeting new friends. I can't do this fat loss diet and still go to CrossFit. So I had to make a choice. What do I actually want to feel? And that's when I started to realize that it wasn't necessarily about how I looked. I just wanted to feel strong. My very first CrossFit class, I walked inside that gym and we were doing pull-ups. I couldn't do a pull-up. I remember the box, so say the pull-up bar was here, this box was right underneath, and I had the coaches helping me lift myself up, because I just didn't have the strength. But I remember walking out of the gym and feeling like, wow, that was the first time that someone told me I could do something I couldn't. And now I want to go do a pull-up. So it's feeding off that energy of, oh, what do I want to feel overall, and guiding your body to that point. Now, if I wanted to feel strong, I knew that cutting out a lot of food was not helping me to feel strong. So maybe it's time to start eating. Me eating food is what was going to nourish my body. It is what was going to fuel my body so that I could feel strong. And I knew that holding myself back from certain foods wasn't making me feel good. So that's when things gave me this new sense of freedom. And for once in my life, I was no longer worried about, oh, what is this doing to my body? I was just enjoying the process. I was just focused on, how do I actually feel when I eat food? Is this helping me reach the point where I want to go? And I know for myself that when I was feeling good, that's when I thought, oh, my body looks pretty good too. And that's when those are the changes that are going to start happening for you. Now, can you even imagine what that might look like for you? If you can't imagine what this might look like for you right now, that is okay. So if we think on a scale, you have to be so fucking ready to make a change right now in order for yourself to kind of start challenging your own beliefs. If you're like, yeah, I think Steph is saying a load of whatever, this doesn't make any sense, that's stupid, I have to go and track my food, then you are not ready to make this change yet. Right, so if you know that something needs to change, I want you to think of whatever makes the most sense for you right now. Right, so if we think back to my last video, when I said eat a food such as a donut, burger, pizza, whatever it is, and try to eat this without guilt. If you were like, no, that was just impossible, I want you to go even more basic. Right, so if that was you, you're going to start noticing your thoughts when you're eating, right? So start tasting and just like savor each bite that you're eating and take note. What do you like? What do you not like about what you're eating? Now, if you took that last video and you're like, yep, that was easy, I ate it without guilt, we're ready to move on. Tell me what the next step is. You're going to stop labeling food as good or bad. It's all food, right? So make a list of all the foods that you've labeled as good or bad. Right? And like talk to show yourself. Is this good? Is this bad? Why is it good or bad? And can it all be good? Right? So pay attention to whether you're feeling satisfied when you eat, not just whether or not you're feeling full. Right? So slowing yourself down. If normally you're eating food sitting in front of the TV or at a computer, you're on a phone and you're doing something, and you're not noticing what you're eating, is just slow it down. Actually take note. Why are you enjoying this food? Why did you choose to eat this meal that you're eating? You're no longer focusing on restriction. You're taking care of yourself, your body, your needs, because you're listening to your body now. Because your body is telling you, we just like turned something off. Now we got to turn it back on. Food isn't always just about, a good way I like to think about food is that it's not just about nutrition. It's not about how many macros there are, how many calories there are. It's about self-care. It's about nourishing yourself. It's about showing yourself that kindness, that you deserve to have whatever body that you want. You deserve to eat all the food that you're eating because it's good for you. It's going to make you feel good. As always, remember when you're building any new habit, you're changing something, is think small. Take super, super, super baby steps. Because if you go too big, most likely it's going to fall apart and then you're going to become frustrated. And we don't want that, right? Remember, there's no such thing as perfection. Baby steps are key. Now, if you're still unsure, that is okay, because I was too. It took me a full year after I did CrossFit to start to unlearn everything that I believed about fitness, believe about myself. And it just didn't happen overnight. I didn't just start eating food. It took a while. But remember that this is a journey, and it is only your journey. You get to decide what's going to happen. So the beauty of all this is, if you're not ready yet, that's okay. But if you're like, I'm tired of staying stuck, then you have all the power to start changing your habits, your beliefs, everything. You can change and become the person that you want to be. As always, don't forget to subscribe, drop me a comment, right? Tell me your thoughts and feelings. Let me know what you thought about this video. Next up, we're going to talk about how to start rebuilding your trust with food, especially when you've been dieting for years. Sending you guys all the love, and I will see you all next time.